The Wes Penre Papers. A Journey Through the Multiverse. The First Level of Learning. http://wespenre.com. Present and Future Challenges, PFC, Section. PFC Paper Number 6, The Return of the Gods. By Wes Penre, Saturday, June 24, 2011. 1. The Tribulation. If we are to believe prophecy, and in this case Bible prophecy in particular, we are currently living in the pre-tribulation, in wait for the Battle of Armageddon and the Lord's return. We are experiencing severe weather anomalies, major and unusual earth changes, pole shifts starting to happen, earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding, birds falling dead from the sky, more mental instability, suicide trends increasing, violence, and self-centered living. The pre-tribulation period has just started though, and will continue until the Lord returns, approximately 2060 to 2095, when land and water will change position, and many people will die. More anomalies we will encounter are described in detail in my previous paper, PFC Paper Number 5, Present and Future Earth Changes and Their True Causes. In the Bible it is said that the tribulation will be 7 years, but I personally think that it may be longer, or else we are misled and Nibiru, and maybe the gods in particular, will arrive sooner than expected. 2. The Lord's Return. Now when we know that the planet Nibiru is on its way back into the solar system, another question needs to be asked: will the ETS from Nibiru come visit us? Well, let's start from the beginning. What is told in the traditional Bible and the Qumran Bible is correct: the Lord is returning. However, the Lord is not necessarily a person, but the planet Nibiru, or Marduk, as it's called as well, named after the eldest son of the Enki. And we know that the planet is inhabited. Yes, these gods will land on Earth, and it will not be in secret. There will be giants and monsters walking this earth again, and they will be armed. The monsters, demons, will most probably be the reptilian race that the Nibiruan A.A.M.I. work with. Other species may join as well, such as the Greys. Although they are here for the sake of war first, and peace later, we humans are supposedly not the target for these beings. According to LPGC members, who have attended the annual Link meetings, they are here to take care of their own and those who support them. This means that the earthbound Anunnaki, those who stayed behind and have been here for millennia, will be judged by the ones from the home planet, at least the ones who parted with Marduk, the king of Earth. There are other Anunnaki here, who are still loyal to the kingdom, and they will part with the A.A.M.I. from Nibiru when the time comes. 3. The Battle of Armageddon. It may seem like an easy task to take down the few Anunnaki still on Earth, believed to be 300 plus, loyal to Marduk, by the force from such a large number of Nibiru soldiers. However, this is not the only ones who are going to be taken down. The Nibiruans will kill their own here on the ground, but spare the Lord's. Lord is a title, earned on the home planet due to bloodline. They are royalty. LPGC says they never kill a lord, no matter what crimes he has committed. It has occurred, though, in war casualties happen. A lord can be punished and sentenced by their law, but not killed. However, there is death penalty for their common people, apparently. This strikes me kind of funny for a race that has almost completed oneness. So what will happen within the next few generations is that the Nibiruan A.A.M.I. will come down to Earth in spaceships and land here, fully armed and ready to fight. They are, according to Dr. Borden, not only here to take care of their own disobedient race, but also to kill off anyone who has sided with Marduk, whether it's people in the governments, industry and trade, entertainment, education, banking, or any other institution and organization. Not only that, they will also kill regular people on the spot, whom have sided with Marduk's policies, wittingly or unwittingly, by intent or action. As A.R. Borden of LPGC put it, they are not very forgiving. Marduk was left here on earth to rule us and to get a chance to repent and become loyal to the kingdom while he was here, but from where I sit, it must have been quite predictable that Marduk would not repent during his 1000 years of more or less unchallenged dictatorship here. He is not closer to the kingdom now than he was then, probably even more detached. The Marduk side includes a big faction of the global elite and military complex, which is the major problem for the incoming. The military will side with Marduk, most of them deceived, thinking the intruders are the enemy. The military will fight until last man to protect countries and the world against this invader force of giants. The A.A.M.I. may communicate first with the United Nations and the Earth in general, before the attack, but who will believe them? Dr. Borden has said to me that in his meetings with the A.A.M.I. they are telling him they feel responsible for us humans because they created us and now want to help us stand on our own feet and become sovereign, which means the Anunnaki will eventually leave Earth for good, in our hands. Apparently, Borden has, in his own words, established a personal bond and friendship of sorts with their leader, the son of Namur/Enlil/YHVH/Yehovah, whose name is Nanner, the person who took over after Anu as the king of Nibiru in the 1400s. They are very angry and disappointed at the Anunnaki who were left behind. Instead they did the opposite, let power and greed take over, and continued interbreeding with humans. In addition, they continued their wars, created diseases and different scenarios to divide and conquer. Now they have to be held accountable, says the new king. Marduk, equivalent to Satan, in his pride believes he can defend Earth against the lords from Nibiru. He is well aware of what is planned and very savvy in biblical prophecy. After all, the A.A.M.I. dictated them. Just like what it says in the Bible, Marduk thinks he can win the battle with the help from joint military resistance, worldwide. He may declare martial law to fight this hideous invader force. World leaders may ask civilians to take to arms as well to join in to save the planet. No matter what the Nibiruans will tell us before they land, Marduk has already used his media propaganda machine to the fullest and will fool most of the world population. The reason he is so certain is because he has manipulated and mind-controlled the masses via media, Hollywood, education, and more for so long to subconsciously build a mind-controlled population of obedient soldiers, who react like one on trigger words that bring implanted thoughts from the subconscious up to the surface of the analytical minds in people. These phrases, repeated in media over and over, will have people take combined actions to save the planet. It's very cleverly done, and this is one reason I am never watching TV and reading newspapers. Although I am aware of this agenda, I still don't want the influence from the media, because I know how easy it is to bury things in the subconscious, even when we think we don't. After all, the media is one big propaganda machine and the truth I do not get from the mainstream media. This is one big reason why I've said for so long that people need to stop watching the news and read the papers, or at least keep it to a minimum. Headlines and a few subsequent lines in the paper is enough to understand the overall purpose of an article. Same thing goes with new technology, like the latest cell phones etc. Aside from being tracking devices, they are also altering your frequency, so that you will be more receptive to what the elite wants you to do when time comes. HAARP is another great example, where the government, via a giant power station in Alaska, is sending out ELF, extremely low frequency, which will have a large amount of people vibrate in a frequency range which is meant to be common to all, a frequency which can then be used, and is already used, for programming. This is done in combination with the media triggers mentioned above. Then, when the perpetrators so wish, they can use this frequency to steer the masses in unison into a devastating war. Hitler did something similar, less sophisticated but very successful when he managed to manipulate the majority of the German people to go to war. 4. And the Lord will reign for 1,000 years. The outcome, again if we believe Bible and other prophecies, will be that King Nanner will beat the forces opposing his mission and thus be the victor. Marduk will be thrown into the bottomless pit where he will dwell for 1,000 years. The other lords, who have supported Marduk will probably be transported back to their home planet, unless they already died in battle. There they will stand before a Nibiruan council of justice and get the appropriate, for the A.A.M.I people, verdict. The plan is then to gather the people of Earth under one flag-a one world government led by a skeleton crew from Nibiru, who will spend the next 1,000 years or more to teach humankind to be sovereign and be able to defend ourselves against outside invaders in the future. Then, at least according to prophecy, Marduk for some reason will rise again and reign for a short time, before he is finally defeated. How this will pan out is still a mystery. However, after that, the Anunnaki will pack and leave the planet once and for all, and it will then be completely ours. I argued with Dr. Borden about why we need the skeleton crew at all. Haven't we had enough of these people ruling us? Thus far, it has only led to disaster, and after all, these beings are pretty warlike, obsessed with sex and bloodline, and can be quite aggressive and are rather non-spiritual. His reply was that he would also prefers that we don't have a skeleton crew here, but that it's probably inevitable, because each planet is looked upon as real estate by aliens. Who owns a planet is a big deal, and if you can't defend your real estate, you're going to lose it. With that, he doesn't mean we will be in recurring wars with aliens from other planets who want to take over, no matter what, but it does mean we have to be very clear as a species what we are available for, and what we're not. We have to claim our right to the planet and be serious about it, and same thing about our rights to our biokind, and those imperatives cannot be compromised. If we can unite in this, most aliens will respect that. But if we again are allowing ourselves to be tricked and taken over by outside forces, we are still not adults enough to defend our real estate. This is the theory behind why we need a skeleton crew, apparently. In addition, I asked Dr. Borden why we can be so sure that the A.A.M.I can be trusted. Look at their history: war, jealousy, obsessive sex addicts, genetic manipulators, and slave drivers, using us as their foot soldier in their own petty wars over real estate and power status, killers, committers of genocide, homicide. The list is endless. I am aware that these beings also taught us things like agriculture, astronomy, astrology, and a lot of other useful things, but it is my understanding that they did this with the intentions for us to support the gods, not for us to be self-sufficient so we can claim the planet. And the fact remains that these beings have huge problems within their own lines, and they are a warrior race. They were the ones who taught us warfare as well. The reply I got was that since the Sumerian times, the A.A.M.I have evolved quite significantly and are now a much more peaceful and very loving species. Dr. Borden says he can testify to this from his own communication with them face-to-face and mind-to-mind. Also, in Chapter 8 of his 2007 essay, The Link, he further states that in one of the annual meetings with them, the A.A.M.I told him, and the rest of the group from what I understand, that their species have now almost completed their cycle to oneness, wherein all knowledge and mind resources are used in service to the common. Although Borden is not exactly sure how they have accomplished this, but suggests it is similar to Schumann's resonance, which means that when the diversity of biominds of each member remains an individuality while simultaneously being interconnected to the A.A.Me. All one by low-powered, low-energetic means that utilizes the planet's life belt energetics. He continues by saying that, however, it is beyond our level of technology at this time to understand how it is being done. What we know is that the A.A.M.I is a highly technologically evolved species, and the longevity issue is high on their priority list. They already have the technology to extend their lives considerably, and it sounds to me that they are using technology to create oneness rather than doing it by raising their frequency naturally, by evolving spiritually, mentally, and biologically. If so, it is not the path we here on Earth want to go down, in my opinion. And who wants to live for thousands, if not millions of years? We may want to extend it with a few hundred years, but after that, the burden of having the same body, at least in third density, and mind more than that I believe is counterproductive for the individual and the species. And I feel strongly that oneness is not something we want to accomplish through technology whatsoever. It has to be earned from hard work of each individual of a species, until the frequency is raised amongst the whole species from the work of individual by individual and individual to individual. Shortcuts will kick back. We want to connect in mass consciousness naturally and not through technology. There is something strange with this Nibiruan species, and I have reasons to believe that they are not like us and cannot evolve like we do. I will do more research on this before I release what I've found, in the second level of learning. A big problem for ETS in general is our stage of development. We are going through an adolescence stage at the moment and we've learned how to split the atom and how to create negative energy. When this happens, ETS all over the galaxy and beyond become on alert. This is a critical point in the evolution of a species, because this is where it can go either way, termination of our planet, like what happened to the Zeta Gray, or we can get responsible and use our technologies and knowledge for the greatest good of humanity. However, we are not using it responsibly, and this doesn't only affect us and our planet, but also the rest of the galaxy and in certain terms our whole universe. When we use negative energy, we borrow it from positive energy elsewhere and it works like when you're pressing a balloon anywhere but in the middle, it blows up on one end and diminished on the other. And what we borrow we must return for the sake of the balance of the universal energies. We are not paying back, and this means that not only will our own sun die prematurely, but also other stars around us and even much further away. Dr. Borden has not said this, but under the circumstances, his group may feel we, as humankind, have no better choice than to welcome the A.A.M.I. and let them do their job. That would take care of the negative energy misuse and other issues not accepted by galactic rules and regulations. However, this implies that we believe what the A.A.M.I. tell us. I can see the dilemma LPGC sits in. They want to play their cards just right, and very carefully, because they want to keep their chairs in the link meetings with the aliens. But like Ed Komarak, the well-known UFO researcher said, and I paraphrase, if the aliens Borden is meeting with don't want him to expose any, or very little, of what is said in the meetings to the public, what hidden agenda is behind the secrecy? We don't want another little NSA. It certainly sounds like LPGC is stuck between the devil and the returning rock, to quote the title of their own essay. I don't envy their position.